August 24th, 1942, 160 miles northeast of Guadalcanal. The Pacific sky is burning. Pillars of smoke twist into the clouds as Japanese dive bombers scream down on the USS Enterprise. Explosions tear through her decks, steel groans, cables snap, and the ocean boils beneath her hull. The air smells of oil and burning paint. Sailors run across the flight deck, silhouettes framed against a wall of fire. Some drag the wounded, others man hoses that hiss uselessly against the flames. Below deck, compartments flood. The Enterprise, the Big E, once the pride of the U.S. Navy, now lists likely to port. She's dying. In the chaos stands Chief Petty Officer Harold Denton, a mechanic from Kansas who spent 3 years aboard her. His uniform is scorched, his face blackened with soot, his ears ringing from the last blast that blew apart the aft elevator. He wipes the sweat from his eyes and looks at the pressure manifold, a tangle of twisted pipes and valves that once powered the carrier's heart. Now it's shattered. The intercom crackles through the smoke. "Engine room to bridge. We're losing pressure. We can't hold it." On the bridge, Captain Arthur Davis grips the railing. His voice is steady, but his knuckles are white. "Keep the pumps running. We're not done yet." The Japanese formation circles for another run. The ocean erupts in geysers of water and shrapnel. Denton braces himself, shouting orders to the men around him. But inside, he knows the truth. Without power, the Enterprise won't survive another hit. He looks at the broken manifold again. There are no spare parts, no time, no hope. And then, under the thunder of another explosion, he mutters, "If I can't fix it, she sinks." The ship groans, the lights flicker, and somewhere deep in the carrier's bowels, a single mechanic decides he won't let her die. The air below deck is thick with smoke and steam. The sound of rushing water echoes through the metal corridors, a steady, relentless hiss that reminds every man on board how close they are to drowning. Denton kneels beside the broken manifold, his fingers tracing the jagged edges of torn steel. The pipe isn't just cracked, it's obliterated. He pulls off his gloves, burns his fingertips on the hot metal, and winces. Around him, engineers shout, sparks fly, and the ship trembles again as another near miss rocks the hull. "We've got to shut it down," one sailor yells. Denton doesn't even look up. "No," he growls. "If we kill the system, we lose propulsion. And if we lose propulsion, we're dead in the water." He glances around the compartment. Every spare part has already been used or destroyed. Then his eyes land on a scrap pile near the wall, twisted pieces of copper, a section of an old hydraulic line, and a handful of welding rods. It's junk, but to Denton, it's hope. He barks orders. "Bring me the acetylene torch. I don't care if it's half empty, just move." 2 sailors rush to obey. Sweat drips from their faces, their eyes wide. Denton works fast, cutting, reshaping, hammering. His hands move on instinct, guided by years of mechanical muscle memory. What he's building isn't regulation. It's not even safe, but it's all he's got. Above them, the intercom blares again. "Bridge to engineering! Enemy aircraft inbound! Brace for impact!" The deck lurches. A bomb detonates close enough to shake the entire carrier. Dust rains from the ceiling. The torch sputters, but doesn't go out. Denton grips it tighter, teeth clenched. "You're not dying today, girl," he mutters to the ship like she can hear him. He fuses the last section of pipe, sealing the line with a patch of scavenged metal and hope. The joint hisses under pressure. It could burst any second, but for now, it holds. "Try the system," he yells. A sailor slams a valve open. There's a heartbeat of silence. Then the roar of steam returns. The manifold vibrates, alive again. The pressure gauge twitches, then rises. On the bridge, Captain Davis hears the report. "Power flow restored, sir, but it's unstable." He doesn't hesitate. "Good enough. Keep her moving." The Enterprise groans, but begins to turn, slowly, stubbornly, back into the wind. The flight deck crews cheer as the first Wildcat fighter claws into the air. Against all odds, she's fighting again. But deep below, Denton knows the truth. His fix isn't permanent. It could fail at any moment. He leans back, eyes closed, and whispers to himself, "Just give us a few more hours."
Decks. Every clang of metal and every hiss of steam sounds like a countdown. Denton hasn't slept in over a day. His face is blackened with soot, his hands raw from heat and oil. The fix is holding, barely. But the temporary weld is leaking again, and pressure keeps dropping. The engine room feels alive, breathing, groaning, fighting to stay conscious. Fans screech, pumps whine, and somewhere in the darkness, water is still seeping in through cracked seams. "Pressure down to 60, someone shouts. Denton limps toward the manifold, gripping a wrench like a weapon. "Hold it steady." He tightens the bolts one by one, his jaw clenched so hard it hurts. Steam spits at his face, blindingly hot. He doesn't flinch. The others watch in silence, too exhausted to speak. They know if that pipe bursts again, they'll be vaporized in seconds. Up on the flight deck, the battle is still raging. Fighters launch into the dark sky, streaking off toward the horizon to intercept incoming Japanese bombers. Every man on board knows what's at stake. If Enterprise goes down, there's nothing left to protect the Marines fighting for their lives on Guadalcanal. Hours blur together. The mechanic becomes a machine, welding, sealing, patching, improvising. His world shrinks to the sound of metal under stress and the red glow of molten seams. At one point, a young sailor collapses beside him, overcome by exhaustion. Denton kneels, shaking his shoulder. "Get up, son. We're not done yet." The boy groans, but rises, driven by the same stubborn fire that's keeping the ship alive. By dawn, the patch has been replaced 3 times. The pressure stabilizes at last. Not perfect, but steady. Denton slumps against a bulkhead, his chest heaving. Someone hands him a canteen. The water tastes like metal, but it's the best thing he's ever had. He looks around the dimly lit compartment. The men stare back at him, filthy, shaking, but alive. For a moment, no one speaks. Then a voice from the corner says, "Chief, you just saved her." Denton doesn't answer. He glances at the manifold, his creation of scraps and desperation, and finally allows himself a tired grin. Above them, the Enterprise surges forward through the Pacific mist. She's wounded, yes, but alive and still fighting. But Denton knows it's not over yet. Ahead lies the next battle, and if this fix doesn't hold when the bombs return, the whole ship could go up in flame. He wipes his face with a greasy rag, muttering, "Come on, old girl, just keep breathing." August 25th, 1942. Dawn. The Pacific horizon glows red, not from sunrise, but from fire. The Battle of the Eastern Solomons has reignited. Enterprise, barely afloat and patched together with desperation, turns back toward the fight. On the bridge, Captain Davis stares at the rising plumes of smoke in the distance, the Japanese fleet. "They think we're finished," he says quietly. "Let's prove them wrong." Below deck, Chief Harold Denton braces against a bulkhead as the engines roar back to full power. The patched manifold shakes violently under strain, bolts groaning as if the ship herself is screaming. Denton feels every vibration through his boots. "Hold together," he whispers. "You've done it once, you can do it again." Up above, deck crews sprint to ready aircraft. Mechanics refuel and rearm F-4F Wildcats, their faces lit by sparks and sweat. Pilots strap in, gripping controls with white knuckles. Over the loudspeaker, a voice cuts through the chaos. All hands, prepare for air operations. Let's bring the Enterprise back to life. The first Wildcat takes off, its wheels skimming over the patchwork steel plates that still reek of smoke. Then another, and another. By mid-morning, dozens of American fighters are in the air. A sight that stuns Japanese spotters who believe the carrier destroyed. On board the Japanese flagship Shokaku, an officer reports in disbelief. The American carrier, she's still fighting. As bombs begin to fall again, Denton's team holds their ground below deck. The heat returns, the walls tremble, and the lights flicker. Every explosion above feels like a hammer to the chest. Water sprays from a crack in the bulkhead. The patch is slipping. Denton rushes forward, shouting orders. "More pressure on the aft valves! Keep it balanced!" He jams a wrench into the pipe, reinforcing it with sheer willpower. Steam hisses around him. The men beside him cough and choke, but keep working. They all know if the engines fail now, Enterprise becomes a burning grave. Then a massive detonation, close enough to rattle every bolt. Silence follows. Dust and smoke fall from the ceiling. Denton opens one eye, realizing they're still here. The engines are still running. Up top, American fighters tear into the enemy bombers. One by one, Japanese planes spiral down in flames. The air smells of burning oil and victory. When the last enemy aircraft retreats, the crew of the Enterprise erupts in cheers. On the flight deck, sailors embrace, laugh, and weep openly. In the engine room, Denton just sits on the floor, staring at his handiwork, a jigsaw of pipes, metal straps, and welding seams that shouldn't have worked, but did. His body trembles with exhaustion, but his heart feels weightless. A junior officer steps in, grinning. "Chief, Captain wants to know how you pull this off." Denton exhales slowly, a faint smile forming. "Tell him it wasn't me. It was the ship. She just didn't want to die." As the Enterprise turns toward Guadalcanal, smoke trailing behind her like a battle scar, she's more than a warship. She's a symbol of survival, of defiance, of one man's impossible fix that saved a legend.